Good afternoon, Save Laurel Ridge supporters and non-supporters. As promised, I am here to give you an update on the Greater Johnstown Water Authority meeting from yesterday. This will probably have to be a two-part video just because of the amount of information that has to be unpacked, sorted out, and rebutted here. So in the first video, I'm going to give you a general rundown as to what occurred, what was said, and in the second video, I will individually unpack some of the comments that were made by members of the Greater Johnstown Water Authority. First, we're going to talk a little business. We have enough people that have joined Save Our Allegheny Ridges to form a chapter. They will be voting on that on December 18th. So as long as their board approves us as a chapter of Save Our Allegheny Ridges, we will be officially formed into a chapter of them. What that means is that anything that you donate will be tax deductible and it will go directly to whatever cause you are donating to. So if you're trying to join that on their webpage, you go to the donate button, and then in the comments you just comment that you want to donate to a legal defense fund or you want to join your family as members of Save Our Allegheny Ridges. If you have any questions about that, certainly reach out to me and I can help you out with that. That's going to be very important. You will see why that will be very important as we start to unpack this information. So let's get into it. Greater Johnstown Water Authority held a meeting yesterday to hear public comments about the proposed wind project on Laurel Ridge. There was about between 50 and 100 people that showed up. There was over an hour of comment period that people, members of the community, voiced their concerns to the Greater Johnstown Water Authority. You know, the old saying is, it's not that I'm mad, it's that I'm disappointed. No, I'm mad. I'm mad, and you should be mad as well. The Greater Johnstown Water Authority has confirmed that this is about money. They confirmed that there's $20 million worth of projects that are upcoming that they're going to have to pay for. They did confirm that they signed a lease with CPV, with the wind company, to lease that land for potential wind development. They did confirm that it is initially supposed to be 8 windmills, not 12, which could have been cleared up weeks ago. We said 12 based on the projections on the amount of land that they would impact. It actually kind of makes it maybe a little bit worse because they're going to impact, X number of acres for 8 windmills, not 12. So that means if they put up more, obviously we underestimated how much land each one of these windmills takes. So think about that. Now, my comment was that the concerning part of their statement and the way they look at themselves, and it was released in a statement to the Tribune Democrat about the town hall meeting that we gave them as the landowners a week's notice. Well, here's the problem with that. They are not the landowners. You, the public, are the landowners. They are the land managers. That land was given to them in trust that they would protect it and protect our watershed. Okay? What they did is they signed a lease with CPV for potential wind development on that ridge. Nowhere in that lease is there an out where if the public outcry reaches X number of point, that they can back out of the lease. So at this point, they have signed over control of that land for a minimum of 7 years for development and up to 30 years for operating. And they did it without a single study. Now, their point was that CPV would not enter into a lease without, how do I want to put this? So CPV is not going to um, do studies about the viability of wind and about the impacts on the watershed and things like that unless they have a lease. So they're not going to spend the money to do the studies and then enter into a lease once they find out if it's a viable project. So they want control of the land first, and then they will go do the studies. So what that means is that the Greater Johnstown Water Authority signed over control of public land to a corporation that functions solely for profit. Now, the old joke is, you know, the astronauts sitting on the space shuttle, and one looks at the other and says, we're sitting on 1 million pounds of rocket fuel with 100,000 moving parts built by the lowest bidder. That's true. And that's the way corporations function. Corporations will do the minimum that they have to do to be allowed to operate and make a profit, and not a penny more. That's just the way that the corporations operate. Okay? Now, Solicitor Barbin stated that there is no risk to the environment. He later recanted that in a way. We'll talk about that in the next video. Mr. Hall stated that this has nothing to do with the environment, that this is just a not in my backyard movement. We're going to talk about that in the next video. They confirmed that they have turned over control and that they really have no way out of the lease unless CPV determines that it's not a profitable project for them to pursue. Okay, so all the stuff that I've been telling you guys and warning you about, it's all true. I didn't make this stuff up. It was all confirmed yesterday that they have signed a lease and that they have given the control to this corporation, control of our watershed to this corporation. Okay? They also, there was a lot of back talk. There was a lot of statements made that then later had to be recanted. They called out Representative Burns for going on the news and saying, you know, the potential, once they start building, the potential for 50 windmills, there's no guarantee. And they called him out and said, it's not going to be 50 windmills, it's going to be 8. But then they turned around and later confirmed that CPV was looking at buying the Brookville land. They were going to give it to the Greater Johnstown Water Authority as long as they were allowed to put windmills on that. Well, that seems awful nice of CPV to do that. Give the land to the watershed. But the problem with that is the only reason that CPV was going to do that is because the water authority doesn't pay taxes on that land. And when the windmills are done, when they no longer are useful, CPV has no use for that land. Again, you can't fault CPV for doing that. They're a corporation. They're going to look for every tax benefit. They're going to look for the best return on investment. And their best return on investment is the lowest capital expenditure that they can get to produce the highest amount of profit. That's what they do. It's what corporations do. There's nothing inherently evil about it. But there is a problem with doing it, in my opinion, on a watershed. Now, what that means, and this is why I said SOAR is going to be so important and why being able to donate is so important. Anybody that has dealt with a corporation knows that anything that we want to do is going to have to go through a court. They're going to pay hefty legal fees to make sure that if it is indeed a viable project, that they are able to carry out that project. That means we're going to have to hire legal counsel. That means we're going to have money. Everybody knows that when you get lawyers involved, it gets expensive very quickly. We'll keep you updated on that. We're going to set some goals. We're going to get some fundraising together and get this moving as fast as we can. Everybody said it's in the infancy stages. It's in the infancy stages. It's not in the infancy stages, people. It is not in the infancy stages. Okay? The lease is signed. They have control of the land. Greater Johnstown Water Authority, as long as CPV meets the requirements in the lease, Greater Johnstown Water Authority can do nothing about it as long as the lease is met. The conditions of the lease. Understand that. This is not in infancy. Okay? This is moving forward. So every day that it moves forward, it becomes that much more difficult to stop. All right? Now, one comment that I will address specifically, and then I'm going to hop off of here, and I'll watch for your comments. If you have questions about what went on yesterday, please email me, comment below. I'll answer them as fast as I can. I can't possibly go through what every person said and what every argument that was made and every rebuttal. And there's just no way to do it. Okay, but I think you have a general idea of what was found out yesterday. But there is one statement that was made yesterday by Solicitor Barban that I want to address right now. He stated that the legacy of the Greater Johnstown Water Authority is going to be for our grandkids and our great-grandkids and in this watershed. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what my legacy is going to be. My legacy is going to be to my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, Solicitor Barban. My legacy, our legacy, the legacy of Save Laurel Ridge is going to be that we had elected officials that were entrusted to protect our water and protect our land. They broke that trust, and we fought back against them. We saw something going on in our community and in our backyard that we didn't like, that we don't agree with, and we fought back against them. And we won.